look at Rod in shock as he studies the door to my room with a complicated expression on his face. I think maids are sent in here to dust occasionally, but otherwise everything should just be as it was before. But why would the king keep the room as it is if he does not remember me? I turn back to the door thoughtfully, then glance at Rod. We can handle the rest. You should leave before you draw any unwanted attention. I don't want you to get in trouble. Don't worry, we will figure out a way to get back to the passage without alerting anyone. What? You've changed. What do you mean by that? You never would have cared about someone else's safety before. Rod turns to leave before I can respond. Be careful. Thank you. Bye, Rod. Garland and I will stand outside, make it quick. I nod at Jurian before turning back to the door and turning the knob. I glance at Waltz and he nods at me. I take a deep breath and open the door. Rod told me that my room had been untouched since I left, but I was not expecting it to be like this. Nothing has changed. Not a thing out of place. There's not even a speck of dust on the dolls on my shelves. Lucette. I am confused as to why this room has been untouched. Certainly the king would have thought to do something else with it. Or in the very least, he would not have maids coming consistently to clean it. But I cannot let myself linger on the questions. I have no time for them. We came here to find Neverland and Tinker Bell. I look at Waltz and nod. Let us start searching. Time passes by. I'm only able to find the key. The box is nowhere to be found, not even in the drawer that I remembered putting it in. To think that you had Neverland and Tinkerbell this whole time. Have you tried searching for it in my room before? I have, but I didn't find anything. She must have used the glamour magic to hide it from me. I stare at the key with frustration. Yep. I don't understand. I'm sure it was here. Are you sure you didn't throw it away? No, I never threw away such a beautiful box. Besides, I keep most of my things. They are all valuable to me, even if they are not outwardly beautiful. I wouldn't have believed you if I hadn't seen this. He leans down to pluck a puppet from one of my drawers. He holds it up with a smile, and I feel my cheeks heat in embarrassment. Aww. I never remembered to throw that out. Waltz gazes at me thoughtfully. That's the only reason? Well, I look at the puppet in his hands and find the truth spilling out at me. I was never able to put my finger on why, but I've always liked that puppet. A smile stretches across Waltz's face. You kept it, even though I did such a bad job with the sewing. What? You made this? Oh, wait. Yeah, this is the first puppet I ever made. Did we teach him how to sew? Waltz turns the puppet in his hands, looking down on it fondly before his eyes meet mine. Oh, no way! You were the one who taught me how to sew in the first place, you know. Oh, that's so cool. What? I was the one who taught him how to sew? I stare at the puppet. I probably kept it because you made it. How cruel. Huh? Do you have any idea what you're doing to my poor heart? You seem perfectly fine to me. Waltz shakes his head and sighs. Waltz? So dense. What? The knot begins to turn. Waltz and I exchange glances before we both dart to different hiding places. I hide myself under the bed. He runs behind the curtains, which more easily conceal his smaller body. The king, what is he doing here? When the king steps inside, I notice that there is something in his hands. Oh, it's the box! That's the box, but why does he have it? I look at Waltz and he gives me a small nod, affirming that it is indeed Neverland. Who's there? Show yourself now if you don't want to get hurt. The king, as she says, oh, what should we do? I look at Waltz, who signals to me to stay in place. He mouths something, and I think he might be saying that he needs to find a way to get us out. Is Waltz going to sacrifice himself again? Will he be alright? Should I trust him? Ooh, yeah, stay. I nod at Waltz. He steps out of the curtains and raises his hands in surrender. Forgive me, your majesty. I know you. You were Hilder's apprentice. Waltz, was it? I remembered then that Waltz had worked for Mother, so naturally the king would know who he was. It's been a while, your majesty. I'm honored you still remember me. You haven't changed, not at all. So Hilda really did curse you for betraying her. Betraying her? Betraying her how? The king places his sword back in its scabbard. I have no idea what you're doing here right now, but... The king surprises us both by getting down on one knee and bowing to Waltz. Your majesty, you shouldn't. I was never able to thank you after the war, so thank you. You did so much for our kingdom, Waltz. So thank you. We owe you our lives. If only all witches were as good as you. The king stands once again, his posture stiff and straight. There are more of us than you think, your majesty. I am lost. What are they talking about? But I didn't do it for the kingdom. Waltz turns to look at me suddenly, a small smile on his face. I did it for her. Ah! Her? Who are you talking about? Waltz nods his head at me. It's alright, Lucette. I slide out of my hiding place and stand in front of the king. It has been months since I last saw him. The king's eyes widen as he looks at me. You're that girl from the gates. You remember me. It is more like I find it impossible to forget you. What? I have a lot of questions for the two of you, but the most important is why you're both in this room. Regardless of the fact that I know you, Waltz, you've still broken into the palace. We would not have done it if we did not have to. I steel myself for further scolding when the king turns to look at me. The box you are holding, we need to break Waltz's curse. How did you come to have it, your majesty? The king looks down at the box as if only noticing it for the first time. I was in the room the other day and noticed a chip on the side of the box. I took it to get it fixed. A chip? I did drop it once a while back, but did not think to get it fixed myself. Why would you do that? The king looks around the room, a faraway look in his eyes. This room is special to me, though I do not know why. I feel that, like, this room and I are both waiting for someone to return, and everything must be perfect for when they do. I feel my chest tighten, even as the king huffs out a derisive laugh. What am I saying? He cannot miss me when he doesn't remember me. He can't, right? But if this box is all you require, Waltz, you may have it. It is the least I can do after all that you've done for us. The king holds out the box to Waltz, who reaches out to take it. Thank you, your majesty. Look who we have here. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's Varg. It's Varg. We all freeze at the sound of the new voice. I turn and find an all too familiar figure leaning against the doorway, a mischievous grin on his face. Yep. What a sweet little reunion. Varg? Chapter 6, Betrayal Zone. No. Dang it. Varg. I told you I'd come back for you, didn't I? Oh, no. Varg taps his cane on the floor, creating a shockwave of powerful energy that blasts us all across the room. The impact of the magic forces me against the wall. I collapse to my knees, pain thrumming in my head. The king collapses nearby, and you hear the crack of the box as it lands on the ground a few feet away from us. Walt holds out his hand, and I take it, and he helps me back to my feet. Lucette, are you alright? Yes. Lucette. The king looks at me quizzically, but his gaze does not linger. He looks toward Varg, his eyes narrowed. Did the king remember who I was? Your majesty, are you hurt? The king shakes his head as Waltz before turning his attention to Varg, his eyebrows furrowed. Who is this man? Your majesty, this person is working for the wicked witches. What? Wait, what happened to Jerry and Garland? They were just outside the door. What did you do to them? Varg cocks his head to the side. Who? The guards just outside this door. I am sure they must have hid themselves when they saw the king coming to the room, but they still should have been able to see Varg coming. Guards, I'm afraid I don't know who you're talking about, princess. Varg seems like he is telling the truth, but I cannot trust him. Please let them be safe. I see Neverland a few feet from us. I can try to grab it, but Varg will probably throw out my attention with magic. I have to wait for an opening. I'll distract them. While I do that, the both of you need to run. What? I eye Varg. He looks at the three of us with his lips slightly quirked as if he is amused. This isn't the time to argue with me, Lucette. Stay with him or listen. No, you're staying. No. Lucette, we must prioritize the king's safety. I will help you. I do not know how, but I must do something. But we are in this together, Waltz. I am not going to run away while you sacrifice yourself for us. Waltz's disapproval is clearly written on his face, but he eventually sighs out, seeming to let it go. You're too stubborn for your own good. So I've been told. I turn to the king and place a hand on his shoulder. Your majesty, leave this to us. You have to escape somewhere safe. This does not involve the king. It is me that Varg wants after all. The king shakes his head as he removes my hand from his shoulder. He stands up and moves in front of us before pulling his sword from his sheath. Your majesty, what kind of king would I be if I stood back and allowed two children to protect me? Varg looks amused by our conversation. You know that I'm not letting you get away this time, princess. It doesn't matter who stands in my way. Father, his cane is enchanted. You cannot hold him back with just the blade. Father, I'm at a loss for words. It has been a long time since I called him that. Much to my surprise, the king's lips pull into a soft smile. You said that at the gates that one day when you were seeking an audience with me. I have not been able to forget that day. Before I can say anything in return, a familiarly smooth voice breaks the ensuing silence. Oh, I wonder where all these voices are coming from. Oh, it's Mithras. Oh, no. A familiar man steps into the doorway. He inspects everyone in the room quietly. Mithras, your majesty. Quickly, summon the knights. We have an intruder in the palace. He gestures at Varg, who looks unperturbed. An intruder, you say? Sir Mithras turns to Varg. At first his expression is impassive, but then slowly his lips begin to edge into a sly smile. You're a ruffian, Varg. Look at all this property destruction. I can only gape at Sir Mithras in shock. If he knows Varg, then he is most certainly affiliated with the witches. You know this man? Explain yourself, Mithras. We are all thrown off guard by Sir Mithras' laughing. Soon his laugh becomes a mad cackle. There is a strange brightness in his eyes that sends shivers down my spine. My apologies, your majesty. I am just amused at my servant's atrocious behavior. At ease, Varg. Sir Mithras gestures at Varg, a silent command to lower his cane. Varg obeys him before moving to a corner of the room, leaning against the wall with disinterest. Don't worry, your majesty. You're not the one we're after. What? Sir Mithras turns his sly smile at me, and I instinctively take a step back. The princess is the lady we need to escort. Escort? Princess? This girl is a princess? That is correct. It is a shame you can't remember your own daughter, even though she stands right in front of you. Enough with your vagueness. Explain yourself. The king's grip on the hilt of his sword tightens. I am not obliged to explain everything to you. Try thinking on your own for a change, your majesty. Mithras. Mithras ignores the king's outburst and turns his attention to Waltz. He visibly stiffens and a sly smile contorts into a grimace. And look what we have here. I see that the traitor has returned to the palace. Waltz stares at him looking puzzled. Sir Mithras tilts his head to the side and offers Waltz a loop-sided smile. You still look the same as you did back then. I did not think it was possible for you to grow any weaker, Waltz Cresswell. Mithras, I see. Waltz suddenly looks melancholy as he stares at Sir Mithras. Waltz, what is going on? This man's real name is Myth and he is a witch, same as me. It appears that he has been using a powerful glamour to conceal his real identity. If I hadn't been cursed, I would have been able to tell right away. I would not give yourself so much credit, Cresswell. Waltz narrows his eyes but says nothing. I glance between the two of them confused. But how do you know him? He secretly worked for your mother, practically worshipped her. I was the only other person who knew of his existence as a witch outside of the Tent of Bearer. A witch? I trusted you, Mithras. The king says the words through gritted teeth, his voice contorted in anger. Sir Mithras flicks a wrist. It is a dismissive gesture, and he still looks amused. What a hypocrite you are, your majesty. He eyes Waltz. You're willing to play nice with some witches, but not others. This bias is what drove us witches to madness in the first place. Sir Mithras faces the king with a grin. You human hypocrites are so easy to manipulate. It's pathetic. Mithras. The king charges towards Sir Mithras with his sword held high. Your majesty, don't. Oh, no. The king's sword never reaches Sir Mithras. Sir Mithras only has to hold out his hand and suddenly an invisible force pushes the king back. He crashes into one of my shelves, knocking down my dolls. Your majesty. I quickly run to his side to help him up. Thankfully, he does not have any major wounds. To think there was a witch working in the palace the whole time, and not the good kind of witch either. I was too careless. Rejoice, your majesty. I still have more surprises for you. I will never forgive this betrayal, Mithras. Betrayal? I'm afraid you have been played a fool for this entire time, your majesty. My loyalty has always been reserved for Lady Hilda and no one else. Mithras, I can't imagine what you hope to gain from all this. Hilda is long gone. Sir Mithras' eyes flash as he turns a severe glare on Waltz. His voice is seething with venom when he speaks. Had it not been for you, traitor, she would still be here. The king mentioned Waltz's betrayal. Sir Mithras called him a traitor. What exactly did Waltz do? Sir Mithras beckons me forward with a gesture of his hand. Now, if you please, princess, please come with us if you don't want them to get hurt. Waltz immediately stands in front of me. I won't let you take her. In your current form, you don't stand a chance. I will make certain that you never break your curse, Waltz. This whole thing was a setup, a trap. I'm sorry, Waltz, this is my fault. No, it was mine. The reason we came was to break my curse. My eyes once again filled to the box on the floor. Neverland is just a few steps away from me. Neverland. Waltz's eyes follow mine to the box. He leans back and whispers to me. You have to get the box and break my curse. I feel for the key inside my pocket. If Waltz's true magic is indeed sealed in that box, then releasing it might give us a chance of victory. And Mithras and Varg do not seem to have caught on to the fact that object will break Waltz's curse is right at their feet. Okay. The king moves to stand beside Waltz and draws his sword again. His body is shielded. Your Majesty, I will not let you take this girl. You will have to go through me first. You can't do this. Lucette, I've always loved that name. I thought if I ever had a daughter, I would give her that name. Magic makes even the impossible possible. You must truly be my daughter, yes? Tears start to blur my vision. Oh, how disgustingly touching. It seems as if I will just have to deal with you first. Oh, no. No. I rush toward the box at the same time Mithras casts his spell. Varg lunges toward me, his hands reaching for me, but he is too late. By the time he grabs me, I've already inserted the key into Neverland. I give it one definite twist and hear the click of the box as it pops open. We broke his curse, we broke his curse, we broke his curse. White flashes throughout the room, blinding me. Suddenly, I feel a strong arm around me, holding me tightly, protectively. When I open my eyes, it is Waltz I see. Even several years older, I still recognize him. Ah! Adult Waltz. Waltz? Hey there, little star. Seems like the tide has turned myth. Waltz grins, and I see a confidence in his expression that I've never seen before. Sir Mithras' frown becomes more severe. Fool, I will show you that I was the favorite apprentice. Be careful not to hurt the Princess Mithras. Varg's voice is almost teasing, but Sir Mithras does not seem to care. I didn't plan on it. Sir Mithras gestures his hand in a sweeping gesture. The beginnings of the spell gather at his fingertips. Waltz looks at me and smiles reassuringly. Now, when I say that I can protect you, Lucette, I definitely can. Oh! Waltz holds out his hand just before Sir Mithras' magic reaches us. An invisible barrier suddenly appears in front of us, thwarting Sir Mithras' magic. Seems like I'm not as rusty as I thought it would be. Waltz snaps his fingers and effortlessly creates a dark wave that pushes both Sir Mithras and Varg to the wall. Ugh. Let's go. What do we do now? The Order of Caldera. They are sworn to an oath of protection. We can rely on them. Waltz glances down the hallway, his mouth drawn in a tight line. I see clear suspicion in his eyes. I look back at the king. The knights should have been here by now. Surely such a commotion should have brought them running. Now I know why Waltz is staring down the hallway. He is searching for the knights that are meant to pass through here. There is no possible way they didn't hear the skirmish in my bedroom. The three of us push onward. I stand between the king and Waltz waiting. I am not entirely sure what I am waiting for, but I can feel the tension in the air. We only stop moving when a voice cuts through the silence. Your Majesty. Oh, it's Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster stops before us with a group of knights. His face is impassive at best. Waltz takes a step back as Sir Alcaster looks to the king. The king is quiet for a few moments, his eyebrows drawn together in a terse expression. He finally speaks. I'm about to declare a state of emergency. Where have you been? Seize them. Oh my god! My eyes are still on the knights in front of us when I hear footsteps from behind us. I am nonplussed when a dozen knights appear from the shadows and surround us. I look for Fritz in the cluster of knights, but he's not here. The king stares around him baffled. What is the meaning of this? Could this be the reason why? What is happening? That voice. We all turn to watch the dining room doors open. Ophelia enters with Emmeline and Rod. Several knights trail behind and flank them on either side, giving them no room for escape. Rod notices me and stares in shock but says nothing. Gennaro. The minute she sees the king, she calls him and attempts to run toward him. The knights only need to raise their sword and block her path to stop her. I think that takes care of all the intruders. Though I'm not happy that two managed to escape. Two, Jiren and Garland, if they manage to escape, then they might be able to get reinforcements. The king will be judged and convicted. His crown will be given to one more worthy. I see. It was you who sent that letter, Caster. That is correct. Now, if you want to protect your family, you will hand over your crown. The king shakes with rage. Was this yours and Mithras' plan all along, to take down this kingdom at its heart? Still, Caster snorts and crosses his arms. Do not clump me together with that snake. Both of us have different goals. It just so happens that we both need to be rid of you. What? You are a weak king, Gennaro. The kingdom of Angielle needs someone who will rule with an iron fist. You are too soft, and so your subjects have become too dependent on the kingdom. And how do you propose I run my kingdom? By instilling fear. There is no place for fear in this kingdom. It is a ruler's obligation to assuage the fears of his people. I cannot believe that you would do this, Sir Alcaster. Sir, Alcaster looks at me with disinterest. Lucette, correct. I have no business with you, but I suppose Mithras does. We have been backed into a corner. What do we do? I feel for my pocket, my hand touching the smooth surface of a veil. I can still remember the potion that Parfait gave me before we left. I had forgotten I had this with me. Parfait told me to use the potion, and we found ourselves in a difficult situation. She said it would give us time to escape. She did not even tell me what it does. I glanced at Waltz, who was eyeing the knights quietly. But it is also possible that Waltz would be able to do something about the situation with his magic. No, use the potion. I reach into my pocket and slip the veil out. I open my fingers just long enough for Waltz to see it. He gives me a subtle nod before turning his attention to Sir Alcaster, who is still speaking with the king. I will make you regret your actions, Sir Alcaster. I throw the vial to the floor. The moment it showers, a blinding white light envelops the room, forcing my eyes to close. Waltz grabs my hand and pulls me away. Don't let them escape. I hear a few grunts from the knights as Waltz begins to burrow his way through them. Waltz leads me to the throne room. We have all somehow made it out. Rod stands in between Ophelia and Emmeline. Rod must have pretty good eyes to be able to lead them both out of there in all that chaos. Good job back there, Lucette. I never realized you had a potion. Parfait gave it to me before she left on her urgent meeting. It's a good thing then. You saved me by using it, you know. Using a more complicated spell would have drained my energy. Why is this happening? Oh, Emmeline. Emmeline's eyes are filled with tears. Ophelia takes her into her arms and rubs her back in an effort to calm her. This is my fault. How could I have not foreseen this? Jiren was right about him. I should have listened to her. This is not your fault, Your Majesty. We don't have much time. We need to escape and tell Lady Parfait about this. It sounds like Jiren and Garland were able to escape. It is possible they will soon bring reinforcements. Rod, you know these people? Rod is silent for a few moments before nodding at her. Yes, they're my friends. Friends? Rod just shrugs at me. More than likely, he just wants us to play along. Aww. Waltz paces around the room, his arms crossed as he tries to think of something. Waltz. I haven't done this in a long time, but I could try to open a portal that leads back to the March-In. Witches can do that? Only the most practiced witches. It only works if they have a clear image of where they want to go. So you can do it. I can. I was taught by your mother, after all. Wow. Walt starts waving his hand in front of him as he conjures a spell to open the portal. But the portal disappears as soon as it appears and fades again. Damn it. They are coming, Waltz. I'm doing my best, Princess. Oh no. My opinion of her mother, it changes with every single route. Because at the beginning of Rod's route, I mean, obviously I had no clue about her mother, but now, she's completely off the hooks. But what gets me the most is that she's the most powerful of the witches. And she knows so many spells that, like, she's impressive. Like, I'm, like, impressed by her, you know? But obviously she's bad, so we can't like her. Waltz tries to cast the spell again. This time the opening appears and stays. I did it. But this won't be open for long. Your Majesty, you must go first. No, let Ophelia and the children go first. Waltz nods as he ushers Ophelia and Emily into the portal. Though Rod is reluctant to step aside, I force him into the portal before me. I can't keep the portal open much longer, Lucette. I can manage one more person before I need to recast it. Your Majesty, you must go. No. What? I do not have any intention of leaving. To leave this place is to abandon my kingdom. I will not flee like a coward. I will protect my throne until my last breath. But that would be suicide. He will not kill me. He may have managed to sway the order, but I have the people on my side. Killing me will cause an uprising, and that is the last thing he will want. But if the king escaped, he would be able to fight from the outside. The castle and his crown are symbols, but he is in danger if he stays here alone. I glance at Waltz and notice him paling. I can tell the magic is sapping his strength, making him weaker. I ball my hands into fists. I cannot leave the king here by himself. He is the king and I am the crown princess. Waltz, you will come back for me, right? What are you... Before he can react, I put my hands on his back and push him with all the strength I can muster. Waltz stares at me in horror as he falls into his portal. I'm sorry. Oh. Girl, we said you're going in there. Waltz disappears and the portal collapses in on itself, leaving me with the king. Both my mind and my heart are numb as the knights approach, ready to surround us. The king and I sit on the floor with our hands tied behind our backs. There are two knights standing by the door to watch over us. I look at the king, who remains as quiet and solemn as before. He has been so calm. Does he have a plan? Why is it that you chose to stay with me? I am surprised when he finally breaks the silence. Because there are questions I need answers to. Besides, I cannot just leave you here. I have many things I need to ask you. King Gennaro falls silent as he stares at me. The gold of his eyes clearly reflects my own. I had never realized how similar our eyes were. Is it true? Are you really my daughter? Yes, I was given the Fairytale Curse and turned into a peasant. My title was stolen from me and from the minds of the people. No one remembers who I am anymore. Cinderella. How did you know? I've noticed the glass slipper necklace on your neck, but the other slipper seems to be missing a piece. A piece? I look down and stare at the second slipper. Oh, wait, what? My eyes widen when I notice that the piece is bigger. Oh, we got our second deed! Okay, period. Yes, we got one more. But when did this happen? I consider and recall the moment I broke Waltz's curse. Oh, okay. Was it when I broke Waltz's curse? This means I have only I only have one more good... wait, oh my god. This means I only have one more deed left to complete, but... My birthday is tomorrow. Are you alright? Yes, I'm just worried. You have been through much today. Try and get some rest. You must reserve your energy. I'm unsure what he means, but either way, there is no way I could possibly sleep now. At least this is what I tell myself, but as minutes pass by, I feel my eyes getting heavier. Eventually, I drift into a dreamless sleep. Lucette, you must wake up. I blink a few times, and when I come to, I find that I am leaning on the king's shoulder. I fell asleep. Okay, what happened? The king glances back to the door. His eyes narrow slightly as he takes a deep breath. It is time to go. What? I turn toward the front doors and realize that the king's guard in the room are missing. They will be back soon. We must hurry. Oh, what? I'm surprised when the king pulls out of the ropes that were binding him. He holds a small knife in his hands. How long has he been out of his bindings? When did you free yourself? I think I have been sorely underestimated. I have been trained just as well as the knights. It goes without saying that I could get myself out of bindings. Sorry if y'all can hear background noise. It is so loud in my house. I am not so weak that I need to depend on others to protect me. It sounds like something I would say. But where did you get the knife? They made sure to take anything we have that could have been a weapon. Would it suffice to say that I pulled it from a hidden spot? Not many people think to look in a person's boots. Oh, that's smart. The king leans down to cut my bindings and lowers himself to the ground. His fingers brush the floor. What are you doing? Finding the keyhole. Ah, here we are. He pulls a small key from his pocket and fits it into a crevice in the floor. The floor gives a gentle, audible rumble. The king pulls a tile from the floor, revealing a hidden staircase. What? There was a hidden staircase here in the floor? An escape route if one were ever needed. Only I know of its existence. Now we must go before they return. I nod and follow after him. The king sets the panel in place as we descend down into darkness. The floor rumbles once more as the hidden pathway closes behind us. Okay, so that's another way into the secret tunnels. Interesting. Both of us walk in silence for some time. The only sound we hear are the echoes of our footsteps. I am behind the king, staring at his back. He seems to have already recovered from his earlier injury. Or he could just be pretending that he is alright. How is your back? It doesn't hurt as much now, thank you for asking. Silence ensues once again. This is getting awkward. Maybe I should say something. Say something. I cannot stand the silence any longer and speak up before I lose my nerve. I am sorry. Why are you apologizing? Because I have done nothing but cause you trouble. Rod told me once that when I disappeared, the king was the happiest he had ever been, because I was not there. I am sure if you had been given the chance to forget me or not, you would have chosen to forget me. No, it feels like I have been the cause of your pain, not the other way around. I feel as if I should be the one apologizing. I have been wondering for a while. If you are indeed my daughter, why do you address me by title? Do you not call me father? I stop in my tracks and turn away. It has been years since I called you that. You were never there for me, so I stopped considering you my father. A deafening silence falls upon us. I am sorry. Can you tell me why you distance yourself from me? The king looks at me silently with something like regret in his eyes. I want to slap myself for my foolish question. My apologies, I forgot that you do not remember me. You know, I have learned many things since I have been cursed, but the things I have learned do not answer my questions. I thought that by staying here, I would finally chance upon some answers, some truth. I have always thought that only mother loved me because you were never there for me. I am sorry I cannot give you the answers you seek. Well, I can understand why you would hate me. I am a witch's daughter after all. Hildur. Do you know what transpired in the past? You mean with mother? Hildur threatened to kill the person I loved if I did not marry her. She threatened to kill Ophelia. The king looks down, his face contorted with anger. Parfait said that mother already broke the rules long before she took over the kingdom. Her hands were already stained with blood. I won't let any more of my loved ones die in her hands. I had no choice back then. I married her because I refused to let her hurt Ophelia. I hated that woman for ruining my life and my kingdom. I know. I recall when he thanked Waltz for saving the kingdom. Can you tell me who Waltz is? Waltz, he was Hildur's apprentice. He was powerful, considered the considered the second strongest among the witches. Really? He was a child prodigy. That is why Hildur ordered his family killed when they refused to give him to her. Waltz didn't find out about that until much later. What? Oh wow! Mother killed Waltz's family? I cannot believe this. Just how many lives did she take? When he did find out, he betrayed Hildur. He divulged her plans to the fairies and helped them defeat her. I gave him a copy of the key to the secret tunnel so that he could deliver it to the Lucius bearer. Aww. So that is how Parfait got the copy of the key. Oh! And then Hildur cursed him for betraying her. I do not know how you two know each other, but it is fairly obvious to me that he is loyal to you and cares about you. He was the type of person that expressed that loyalty plainly, so I can tell. I do not know why the king decided to comment on such a warm thing, but my cheeks are suddenly warm. Oh! You care for him. Do I? He is a good man. How did we even get to this conversation? The two of us are still walking when the king suddenly stops and I nearly bump into him. Ah, here we are. This should bring us into a passage that leads into the gardens. I follow his gaze to a rusty door. He slowly approaches the door. Stay close to me. I nod at him. He turns the knob and pulls open the door. Okay. The king and I only gape at the sight in front of us. It is the last thing we expect to see behind the door. Mother?